Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become the confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I have as a guest, Evgeniy Kharam. And let me tell you about Evgeniy. He, throughout his career, has worked with some of the largest enterprises across Canada, U.S., and Europe, including time spent working alongside industry leaders like Robert Harajavec. I'm sure Harajavec, is that correct pronunciation? As a cybersecurity consultant, he helped major companies tackle complex technical challenges. But along the way, he realized that success isn't just about the technical know-how. To truly make an impact, you need to connect with people, whether they are customers, teammates, or executives. He discovered that simplifying technical ideas, improving communication skills, and using hooks to capture attention are essential to delivering the right message. He also learned the importance of using his voice effectively and engaging experiences. Through storytelling, metaphors, and more powerful, concise communication, he has mastered the art of making complex concepts easy to understand. In his book, The Art of Soft Skills in Technical Sales, he shares these insights to help professionals combine technical expertise with human connection, making them more successful leaders and communicators. So today, that's what we're going to talk about, soft skills in the digital age. So please join me and welcome my guest, Evgeniy Kharam.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
This is so important to talk about. You know, I teach leadership and communication because I think they're so tied together. And so often things can go the wrong way because of a misunderstanding, poor communication. You can't sometimes close a deal because you just didn't engage and connect with your audience. So I'm happy that you're going to be here to share what you've learned, what you found, your experiences.
Definitely. And I'm very, very happy to be here today. I also want to mention that it's important, the communication part for native speakers for English, but in Canada, in US, there's a lot of immigrants. I am an immigrant. English is my third language. So you maybe have an even bigger barrier because sometimes we as immigrants, not always think in English. We maybe think in our native language and then translate. So sometimes we are slower, sometimes we are faster, sometimes we not pronunciate all the words correctly, and it could be, lost in translation.
Yeah.
Sometimes the idea is not there. So our face and our body showing something, but our words showing something else. And it could be frustrated for native speakers talking to someone that tries their best to communicate, but it may be potentially very slow, or they're not explaining in the same way. And people have this idea that if I explain to you the same idea in the same words 3 times, then you will understand, instead of switching to a metaphor, instead of switching to something else. Because if I told you something in one way and you're like, what? What are you talking about? I cannot just tell you the same idea in the same words. I need to understand, okay, how do I adapt to you? What do you understand? Can I do a metaphor from your life? Maybe you like golf. Maybe you like finance. Maybe you like leadership. Maybe you have kids.
Mm.
I have kids. So we can relay the idea
Yeah.
in the language. I don't want to say simplify the language because it's incorrect, to the level of this particular communication. Because
Hmm.
maybe if we talk about kids, it's going to be a simplification of idea. But if you talk about business, I'm going to talk about business terms. I'm going to talk about financial. I'm going to talk about how much money we're making. So it's all really depend on a concept and what exactly we're talking right now about.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes it more relatable and therefore engaging. I have a second job during the holiday season at a clothing store, and I had a person that came up to me, and we have a lot of people in Georgia here that are from different countries as well, and so he came up and he said, "Thank you for checking me out," and he said it with a smile, and I went. And I didn't know how to react. And he says, "Thank you for checking me out." And I said, "I'm a married woman." And he said, "No, I mean, checking me out." I said, "Oh, yes, I am checking you out of the store of the products." Yes. Okay. So it's again that
Because
translation piece.
would be, and in some cases, if we put aside the idea of the immigrant part to the technical people, we have so many technical people, boys, girls that are so smart. And I always have this like small joke. If we put a developer and an accounting person in the same room and tells them only use the acronyms you use with your friends, they're going to lose themselves and have no idea what they're talking about. So if you ask for a technical person to explain what they do, they need to understand they cannot just use the acronyms and the
Yeah.
language they use with their friends. They need to change to something else. They need to explain something else. And this is potentially the reason why we have so many bright people hiding behind the screens and says we
Mhm.
hate people. We don't want to communicate with people. We want to communicate with computers. Because in many cases, it's required a vulnerability to open
Mhm.
up and actually tell, I didn't understand what you're saying. Can you please repeat? Can you say it in a different way? And the same with us. If somebody telling me and I don't understand, would I actually say, I didn't really understand? Or I'll say, yeah, yeah. And then I will try to Google it myself, ChatGPT it myself later on to
Mhm.
understand. And it's part of communication, part of vulnerability, part of soft skills. And it became even harder during the pandemic because we
Mhm.
lost this face-to-face communication. We lost the intimacy of a meeting where we're not distracted with multiple screens. I have 4 screens in my environment. You may be talking to me, and I'll be looking at my different screen and say, "Yeah, this is amazing. Oh my God, I love this so much." And I will be scrolling Facebook.
Yeah. 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 And you, as soon as you turn your eyes to that different screen, you disengaged us. But, for me, this form of communication, I was a project manager for the last 20 years of my career. And we started out where the only kind of team calls that I had were audio. And so I had people from all over the world, different languages, and you would have them saying yes with their mouths, but if I could see their eyes, they were like totally don't understand. They did, and you didn't find out to it till weeks or months later, whenever you got the results of their efforts and saw that they completely misunderstood the assignment or the task or whatnot. So at least now, I always make people have their cameras on whenever we were in those meetings. And that way I could see at least their facial expression, their eyes. Did they understand, or were they just really needing me to say it in a different way or clarify what I said?
So think about that. This is very interesting. And you mentioned before about screens and the moment I turn my eyes to something else. So I have a teleprompter. So I'm actually not looking in my web camera on my laptop. I have a teleprompter and a screen. So you have a feeling that I'm looking right into your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in reality, people are not going to have a teleprompter. Why would they have a teleprompter? I'm
Yeah.
not saying you to have a teleprompter. And what's going to happen, you will talk to someone, if they have multiple screens, they will actually look at your eyes, but you're going to see the side of their face.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to understand because they're actually seeing your eyes. They don't understand they have two screens and the camera located here. And in my case, I have my laptop screen and my telephoto screen duplicated. So I'm actually seeing you eyes, but you completely lost me right now. Now, this is one part. But the second part, even a small
Mm.
part, what if you have a camera on top of your screen? Most
Yeah,
of the
then you're
laptop is like
looking up.
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So where do you looking? Now, if I'm even looking on the screen, I see your eyes, but you maybe see the top of my eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
There's these small things to have the correct eye contact.
That's
People
right.
are not aware. But if we're having a team meeting, it's probably okay. But if you're having a one-on-one, if I'm a leader
Mm.
and I'm talking to my peer, I'm talking to someone, it's so important to understand. And it's required you to look in a camera
Yeah.
and have your peripheral email, your peripheral view to actually
Mm-hmm.
learn to understand what's happening there as well.
Yeah.
And if it make it more complicated, what will happen in a physical meeting? I'm probably going to have a pen and a pen or pencil, and I'm going to have a notebook writing stuff about our meeting. Totally common. Right now, if I'm going to do that every 2 minutes, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
Evgeny, are you eating spaghetti on the side or what's happening there? So, but no, I'm writing notes. Here's, I have a notebook right here.
Mm.
I have notes here. So I need to actually tell you, Vicky, by the way, we have a meeting right now, but you may see me going out of the screen from time to time, or my eyes will shift. It's because I'm writing notes and I have
That's
another
right.
screen on the left. So sometimes I need to check what's happening there. Like, oh, so I'm guiding. I'm being guiding and
That's
tell you
exact.
what's happening. So part of soft skills is guide. So we mentioned vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
Now we need to make both guide. I'm actually guiding and telling you what's going to happen. Hi, Vicky. Hello. We're going to do XYZ. Could be a sales meeting, could be
Mm.
one-on-one, could be leadership meeting, could be whatever's happening. And I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm not pitching you an idea. It's not a competition right now. It's a bit different. So I'm telling what's going to happen. Or how are we going to make this deal over the sales? This is what I need from you. And at the same time, I can ask you, Vicky, can you guide me what is the better way to work with you? It's
Mm.
such a simple question. I was talking to people in customer success a few weeks ago, and the lady asked me, Evgeny, how do I know how often can I bug the customer? Bug, I mean, like in a good way.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I cannot really tell you, but I think the simple things to do is to ask the customer,
that's
Mr.
exactly.
Customer, how often I'm going to be okay if I'm going to remind you about what we're doing? And the customer, because I think majority of us are more mature people, would go,
Mm.
hey, you know what? I actually sometimes forget stuff. Feel free to email me every week. Like, I know my shit, excuse my French. I know what I'm doing. Don't bug me. When I'm done, I'm going to email you back.
Mm.
This is basically asking for a guidance from a customer, not assuming what we want to do. And this is not related to, again, sales or cold sales when people like email you 55,000 times until you answer, because it's maybe annoying. But you can also ask someone, hey, should I stop? And people like, yeah, please stop. Not
Mm.
interested, not don't care.
Yeah.
Fine. Or come back to me in 5 months, for example, when it's become more
Mm.
relevant. So very, really, really depends. But this idea of being guided and ask for guidance coming back to vulnerability,
Mhm.
because you need to be vulnerable to ask for guidance or maybe be vulnerable to understand what's happening. We also have this idea right now about empathy. In a way, driving me nuts. Why? I explain. Because, like, oh, you need to be more empathetic. But wait a second. Think about that. How can I be more empathetic if I'm not even curious enough to care about what's happening in the Wiki life?
Mhm.
So before I can be empathetic, I need to open a bit of curiosity to actually listen
Yeah.
and be engaged in a conversation. Then I actually need to have an active listening
That's
to
right.
actually actively listen to what's happening. Then I can engage my empathy, say, oh, Vicky, I didn't know you were not feeling so well during the holidays. Oh, I
Mhm.
didn't know your vacation didn't work out, or you have whatever it is. Then I
Mhm.
can be empathetic in a good way or in a bad way. Wow, we won this award. This is so amazing because empathy is not just bad, empathy is good as well. I'm happy for you because something good happened in your life.
Yeah, so true. And I think it also shows that, that respect that really helps you solidify a relationship with that customer, that client, that coworker.
You, it's interesting what you're saying because the respect also, can I be, the fake car salesperson? Am I fake? Or I'm actually care? So I'm
Yeah,
talking to you.
sincere.
Yes, I want to sell you this amazing cup. Don't get me wrong. But I also care. I do care.
Hmm.
I want to sell the cup you need. Do you like tea? Do you like coffee? What is the size of the tea or coffee you usually drink? I
Hmm.
wanted to sell you the cup, but not just the cup, whatever. I want to sell you the cup you need because I
Hmm.
truly care that you will have fun and you will remember Evgeny because you got this cup and probably tell all your friends. By the way, he cared. He sold me what I need. I enjoy this cup. I enjoy my coffee. This is the right size. This is the right color I like. And I'm happy to put and tell other friends to do referral to this person.
Very true. Very true. So, a couple questions I wanted to start with.
Oops.
First, tell everybody, where do you live? Where do you call home?
I live in Toronto, Canada, not
I
US.
love
So it's in
Toronto.
Ontario. Yeah.
And we talked about, a little bit about your journey, but share, what was it that was that pivotal moment that made you say, I need to help people with this soft skills thing and write your book. And so what were those aha moments you had that really informed what you're doing today?
Well, I'm gonna go a bit back to explain. So I moved to Canada in 2006. I was working in cybersecurity back in Israel. I moved to Israel when I was 11 in
Mm,
1990. I started to work for a company called Horjovic Group. Robert Horjovic, if any of the listeners watch Shark Tank and familiar with Robert
mm,
Horjovic as a shark, I worked for Robert for 16 years in cyber. And it was very, very interesting. And I learned a
mm,
lot during this part. And what I learned a lot is not because my English wasn't perfect, I needed to use something else to connect to people. And I
mm.
learned that if I show interest, if I show how engaged and how care and how
Yeah.
excited I am about what I'm presenting, people will almost like catch fire. Like, oh my God, he's so excited about this
Yes.
cybersecurity. I don't want to go in technical part. And slowly, I saw how I work. I saw how I train people that working for me. Like, okay, this just makes sense. This just makes sense. And then in one part, on my point, I was working with many providers that tried to sell something to us that we
Mm.
will sell to our customers.
To
And I
Robert.
saw how everybody present. And there was a point when it's like, why? In majority of the cases, you jump on the call and you're like, let me show you my presentation. Let me show you the demo of my product. Like, why you don't ask what the customer want? Why you
Mm.
don't ask how they like to understand information? Are they visual people? Are they audio people? Are they kinesthetic people? So I started right like before the pandemic. It was in my mind going on.
Hmm.
And then I started my own podcast right before the pandemic. And it was a journey to learn how to communicate without arms and arms, how to replace them with powerless,
Hmm.
how to become a better speaker, how to be in camera. And then I realized, wow, this is not just podcasting. It's applicable to sales and customer success because we're now all working over Zooms. All the tips I mentioned about the camera before. So this is started to create like a package. Like, wait a second, there's so many things that we can improve to do better. And it basically stack on the idea that if I cannot connect to Wiki on a personal level in the first few minutes of our conversation,
Yeah.
she will not care what I'm trying to convey. This could be a product, this could be an impact on the report, this could be recommendations, doesn't matter. I need to first to establish some basic level of communication, empathy, care about each other, and only then I need to do this. You know what? Almost, think about this, when people trying to date or people are dating. It's just
Mm-hmm.
coming to someone and saying, hey, hello, marry me. Oh, hey, hello, come home to me.
That's
Oh,
right.
there's games, there's a please, there's a discovery, there's understandings, there's back and forth. There's some kind of game and small intimacy happening between the people. And we're not talking about definitely sex. We're talking about just the communication
Mm-hmm.
part. This was the pivotal moment for me to like, hmm, I want to write about it. I want to help people to understand that we can
Nice.
find hooks, we can find ways to connect with people. And it's not just one part, it's not a framework. Push this 5 button, it's going to work. It's a toolkit of different tools that will help you to understand how you can do it better. Maybe we went to the same school. Maybe we like the same sport. Maybe we like the same cars, went to vacation. There's so many different ways to connect to people because probably not a mystery to anyone when you're going to a party, when you're going to a function. Some people, you're right, connect to them, and some people like, I don't like them. Somehow it doesn't work. So this was the idea and the pivotal moment to start writing. And then I realized during the writing process that I'm, in a way, covering what helped me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm covering the stuff that may change me as a geek, as a technical person, to become a better communicator. Because what I heard all the time is, wow, you came and you solved the problem and you solved it in a way that we understood. Because one part, when I will come to a customer, for a week, for example, I'll come to a customer, we'll take a whiteboard, and I'll tell, John, they're going to spend a week with you. This was going to happen. This is 5 days, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And at the end of the day, this is what we covered. This was done. This is still outstanding. This is a problem. So there was a clear communication, clear guidance. So
Mm-hmm.
in majority of the cases, I had my fuck ups as well, excuse my French. I had a very good reviews on the work I did or the work my team is done. So people felt we care. People felt we did the job that need to be done, what expected, what was required as well. But it wasn't just technical. It was
Yeah,
the
it's
how we
personal.
communicate, what we do. It was personal. People
Mm.
remember who we are and what we did.
Yeah.
This was the idea. This is how it all started.
And when you do that, then that's where you get repeat business. That's where you get referrals. That's where people want to work with you again. And also, you know, in my cases, a lot of times that's where friendships come out of just work relationships.
Yeah. You never know because in some cases you work with someone, you share stories, they open up with you, you open up with them, and then suddenly you coming back, they ask you questions, they're for a customer, you invite them to a conference or something else, and
Yeah, then magic happens. So, what are the strategies CTOs and consultants use to manage stress whenever they have high pressure environments? Because it's always your natural behavior comes out in the highest stress. So, you might put a mask on for some things, but whenever you get in that stress, that's where sometimes you aren't at your best. And so, how can we manage that a little better?
this is a, as we say in our industry, a very good question. And why it's important. Somebody asked me like, why stress connected to soft skills?
Mm,
And it is connected. And I think it can only hit why. Because if you're an amazing human being, you know how to communicate, you have a nice voice, your writing is amazing, everything is amazing, but you're not there. You're just not there. You cannot be present. You're sick all the time. You have a headache.
mm,
You over stress, so you cannot even get to the point that you're showing your amazing
mm,
skills.
right.
If you take a reference to a car, you have a very good car. It has a very nice engine, very nice tires, but it breaks all the time, or it doesn't have a fuel, for example. Okay. So one smart individual mentioned something very cool in one of my interviews that like I charge my batteries not when they're at 10%. I charge my batteries when they're at 40%. Why? What are we talking about? You not get to the point that you burn out, you don't want anything, you have a headache, you're lying down, you don't want to talk to your spouse, you don't want to talk to your kids or
Yeah.
your friends. You want to understand what to do to take care of yourself, like a maintenance to the car every 5,000, 10,000, whatever the car you have, you do to proactively change oil filters. Same here, you want to proactively take care of yourself. This could be doing physical fitness. This could be potentially doing meditation. This could be eating healthier,
Mm.
talking to a practitioner, do many different things to understand not to get yourself to the point when you're already there and now you need much harder to get back.
Yeah.
And when you proactively take care of yourself, so quality over quantity, if you work 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day and you not take breaks to do a call when you're walking outside or go outside, do push-ups, do a meditation, do a cold shower,
Mm.
whatever it
Mhm.
is, then you will have a headache. You're not drinking enough water. You're going to get to a stage where you're not productive. But when you do breaks, go outside, take care of yourself, doing a routine, then your brain
Yeah.
will function better. I'm not a neuroscientist, but I think we all can agree when we fresh and
That's
relax
true.
and we have a good sleep, our brain works faster. Like, hey,
Hmm.
do all the important tasks in the morning when you're still not tired. But we also know that if you're going to a gym or you're going for a run, whatever the activity you're doing, you maybe don't want to go there, but when we're down, it's like, oh my God, I feel so good.
I
I
feel
feel so refreshed.
yes.
So, like, if you take physics and we pretend that we have an energy in physics when we're talking to customers and they're getting annoyed or we're getting hammered with the stuff, this energy, whatever we want to call this, need to go somewhere. So if we go into the physical activity, we kind of take this energy and move it to physical activity and use it there and recycle it. Or whatever, how you want to think about that. But it's
Hmm.
definitely helping us to become fresh, to become more active, to have new ideas, to have new perspective.
Sure. I always say whenever I would have a problem, especially I spent a lot of time the last several years before I retired working from home, and obviously during COVID too. And I would have a problem that I needed to solve, and I just was stuck, almost like you have a brain fart, if you will. So I would scrub the floor always. That put my mind back off of, you know, while I'm doing the physical labor type of
Moving
thing.
meditation.
Yeah. And I always could figure out what I needed to do.
Yeah, so I know for me,
Mhm.
showers helping, water helping, going for a walk helping to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
I kind of almost take a problem, putting it somewhere on the side, like a secondary processing,
Hmm.
and then I'm doing something else, and then in one moment, boom, I get a
Yeah.
resolution, I get an answer for it as well. So the idea is to take care of yourself, permitting preventing burnout is helping you with soft skills, helping with your technical skills as well.
Yeah. So, what are the key soft skills that drive success in technical sales? And as you said, a lot of times technical people, if they're talking to other technical people, they might use all those acronyms and all those things. But if you have a mixed audience, what are the skills that you're going to talk about
First of
now?
all, you mentioned curiosity. You want to be curious enough to learn.
Yeah.
Second of all, metaphors and ability to represent different ideas in different languages are probably the key here. So we need to
Hmm.
take a complicated idea. Let's talk about cybersecurity and how we secure your office or your company and talk about the house. It has
Hmm.
windows, it has doors, it has fans, it has a dog, it has a camera. Can we say this? If we can also need to understand how do we actually ask questions. So
Yeah.
asking questions may be not a like why it's a soft skill. It is a very important soft skills because I can ask
Hmm.
Vicky, do you like? Let's try this. What is your favorite color?
It is red.
Great. But it helped me. I just have a
No.
piece of information, but it didn't really
Mhm.
help me. But if I ask you, Vicky, what is your favorite color and why?
Yeah. And why do you like it? Yeah. So now you have to say why. Because every time I wear red, I get compliments.
So now, okay, now I learned that you like compliments. Now I learned that, okay, I need to
Hmm.
please you maybe in a way. I need to make you feel in one way or another. So this, if I use an open-ended question, it can move me
Yeah.
farther to understanding what I can do. And I'm not saying closed-ended questions are bad. I'm saying they have a time to ask you, because when I want to ask you, how many dresses you want to buy, this is an important question. Close them, 1, 2, 3, or 4. But I need to get to that understanding. Do you want to buy a dress, or do you want to buy a blouse, or do you want to buy a pants, or something else? A
Hmm.
completely different topic.
Yeah. So, how can technical professionals improve with those communications with those non-technical stakeholders, though? Do they take that time to get to know them? Or maybe the person said, you have 10 minutes or 5 minutes of my time. So now what do you do?
First of all, people need to understand in my mind that
Hmm.
you not practicing these techniques and soft skills on the work only. You actually
Yes.
trying to be silly, and you're trying to open up day by day. This could be with your
Hmm.
family, this could be with your friends, this could be the most amazing way with complete strangers. And I'm not
Yeah.
trying to say that you need to be rude. No, 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 no. You actually need to be nice. So here's a simple example. You buying groceries in a store, a cashier standing there, woman or man, try to talk to the cashier, try to make them smile, try to connect with them. Guess what? You didn't succeed? Okay, nothing bad happened. You succeed, you made somebody day a bit better, and you were accomplished to connect to someone. When you're
Hmm.
standing in line to buy something, don't be on your phone. Look left and right.
Yeah.
Try to talk to a person around you. Try to see how you basically always trying kind of to sharpen your skills. Doesn't matter what's happening. I got to the point that my kids telling me, Dad, we don't want to go with you anywhere. You always talk to everyone. So when you get to this point, then maybe you can stop. Why it's important? Because then it becomes second nature. It's not become awkward. You can now easily connect to people on your work during the work, because you already know that some people will say yes, some people will say no, some people facial expression will show one way or another. So this
Mm.
is important to understand. You need to train the skills all the time, and it should become in second nature. You don't want to do all the time, do it from time to time, but not just at work. Then when someone puts you on a spot and tell you only have 10 minutes, you're already ready for this.
Yeah.
And by the way, one of the resources that I think is fundamentally amazing called Toastmasters. Not affiliated with them, but I did a training there. Probably the best money for the information
Yeah.
and the skills you get. Like they're so, so, so amazing. It's an international organization available everywhere, online as well. And one of the games they doing in Toastmasters is you have a topic and you need to talk on this topic that you're not familiar for 1 minute. So
Table topic.
it, yep, it mandate you to be on point and mandate you to be very, very quick and pay attention to time. So this is a skill that's also very important. You
Hmm.
want to guesstimate for how long you're speaking. So you presenting at work, say, okay, I want to present for 5 minutes. Don't look at the watch. Don't always change time. Understand and try to measure, play with this,
Yeah.
how long it takes you. It's like riding a bicycle. You cannot learn riding a bicycle on virtual reality. You have to ride the bicycle, scrape a knee, fell sometimes, understand what's happening, understand the different sides of the wheels, different sides of the pavements here as well. The more you practice, the better you will to be on the spot, to reply on the spot, to talk on the spot,
That's
to
right.
not and I do want to mention it is important. We have this idea, and by the way, awareness from this came from Toastmasters, that we need to remove filler words. I think it's very hard as a human being to eliminate filler words. But we can replace them with pauses. We
Mm-hmm.
need the time to think. We need the time to understand what you want to say. We don't want to blab stuff. But our human mind usually say, "Hi, I'm Evgeny. Today, you know, why? Because during this and ums, we are thinking and we're trying
That's
to
right.
compute what you want to say. Guess what? Instead of that, you say, "Hi, I'm Evgeny. Today, we'll talk about."
Whatever.
Yes, and it
Mm-hmm.
takes time. You can allocate part of your brain, or I'm a geek, CPU, to watch for this. With time, you will see how slowly you're removing filler words
That's right.
and replacing them with pauses. And there is a direct connection between this and how relaxed you are. The
Mm-hmm.
more relaxed you are, the easier it is for you to watch what you're saying, have the pauses, and convey your message. The more stressed you are, it's going to be much harder. And there's a lot of techniques to help you to
Mm-hmm.
reduce your stress. One of my favorites, one that doesn't cost you anything, breathing.
Yep, that's absolutely right. So I've been a Toastmaster for 27 years. So
Wow.
everything that you said is absolutely accurate. And I use it with the youth. So that's my next question. Whenever you talk to kids about cybersecurity, how important is it to use those soft skills in talking with the kids too?
This is an interesting topic. I have three small ones, so definitely interesting topic. Kids will play you left and right, and their soft skills is so amazing that
Yeah,
you'll understand how they play you. So pushing something on them they don't want to hear will not gonna work.
that's
You
right.
need to back to idea to connect to their level. So telling kids don't friend people on your games you don't know why. You want to show them, you want to explain to them. You may have to actually pick up the game and say, hey, can I play with you Brawl Stars? I'm playing Brawl Stars with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, I have this person wants to friend me. It's like, oh, yeah, this is this guy. This is okay. So you're kind of asking them for guidance and what they do. And then you, because you're asking them, like, hey, so who are you friend with? Oh, here's the neighbor's son, here's the neighbor daughter, here's my friend from school. So you need to be with them. You need to be
Mm-hmm.
on their level to understand what they're doing. Are they on a different game? On a different communicator, ask what they do. It's your responsibility also to understand how these applications are working. I'm not familiar with all the applications because I don't use them, but I
Mm-hmm.
can go online and say, okay, you using this application as that application. Is this application showing your location? How is it connected? Can I only connect with people we know and we can approve them? Is there a way to have parental control? So read about this particular application that you will
Mm-hmm.
be smarter enough to understand what questions to ask or how to work with them as well. So there's definitely a way. And you do need to have awareness for the kids. This could be showing them YouTube videos about the white one and why we don't take candies from the strangers. You want to ask them, do they learn about awareness in school and what they learn and why they're learning this
Right.
part? But it has to be on their level. It has to be a very small chunk of informations and it has to be in a way that they understand and they're not scared from you. They actually understand because if you there you pushing something and say no, 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 then the child brain in most cases. I think we all still kids, just grown up kids, so different toys.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do the opposite. We want to challenge the status quo. We want to
Mm-hmm.
show we know better. So
Yeah.
definitely apply this basically reverse psychology to
Mm-hmm.
understand that we're not saying you know, but we want to explain to you potential what's
Why?
happening.
Yeah, that why is so important. So, how has cybersecurity changed in the last 10 to 15, even probably last 5 years?
we definitely need another focus for this.
I know.
But
And as I
yeah,
was doing that, I thought that would be a
yeah.
great podcast to have.
Cybersecurity changing all the time. It's such a
Yeah.
moving and fast target, and it definitely changing quite a lot for the last few years with introduction of publicly available generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we can do some of the things faster. And unfortunately, the bad guys can do stuff faster as well.
Yeah.
They can use AI to send more spams. They can use AI to craft better messages. They can use AI to deepfake your voice or my voice or my appearance as well. So there's definitely a lot of stuff happening. It's moving faster, and it requires us to be more aware about what's happening as well.
Right. Right. So time's flown by. The last question is, what is your go-to strategy for overcoming that public speaking that we talked about?
My go-to strategy is to learn how to reduce my anxiety before, and I'll talk about it in a second, to be able to open up my focus points that I can actually pay attention to filler words, to the audience, to my slides, to how I talk and how I present. And my go techniques, there's two actually, one called box breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Do
do
that all the
box
time.
breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just explain to the listeners, it came traditionally from the Navy SEALs, but
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of history from India and yoga. I think all the breathing techniques somehow have history from yoga. But the idea is that day by day, we're breathing from 12 to 15 breaths per minute. If we do yoga box breathing, and let's say we do 5, 5, 5, 5. So inhale for 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5, hold for 5. Now, our cycle is 20 seconds. Basically, we just reduce from 15 to 12 to 3 per minute. And guess what's
Mm-hmm.
happening when we're scared or we have anxiety? We
It goes up.
is going from 15 to 25 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
By moving this to 3 or 4 breaths per minute, we're basically almost like mechanically slowing down the heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
slowing down ourselves, and putting ourselves to a better state to start. So this is one technique I use. And when you use it all the time, and I'm not saying you're doing it once, you have to do it for 3, 4 minutes before, you can almost mentally do it before. So you kind of
Yeah.
almost mentally go into the state to reduce your anxiety. And if you think about that, are you actually scared or you may be excited because it's
Yeah,
a bigger crowd?
exactly.
It's a new people. So if you can transform the mental model from fear to excitement, it's all going to help you. So the combination between breathing and this part will help you. There's another technique that I like when it's a bit physical, when you basically rotate around yourself for
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5 minutes, and it helps stabilize the mind as well.
Yeah.
Harder to do when you're in a crowded place. Box breathing relatively easy to do, even when you're walking or you just. I used to go to the washroom, sit down and do box breathing.
Yeah, and whenever you have it as the excitement too, that brings more energy too to the stage as you are talking. Well, it is time now for me to share my slides of the contact information for Evgeniy. I'm saying that wrong. I didn't say your name enough times, and so I
No worries.
mispronounced it. Um, but he has so many good things, and you want to find out also how to get that book so that you can learn more about soft skills. If you're listening, you know that you can go to my YouTube channel to get it, Vicki Noethling. So please subscribe, as well as go to findyourleadershipconfidence.com, my website. And I'm going to read the information for those listening. So the website is softskilltech.ca. Again, softskilltech.ca. And then the LinkedIn is his initial E and then last name Kharam. Ekharam. I'm going to turn it over to Evgeniy, and he's going to tell you about his call to action for today. Things that you might find whenever you go to his website as what he puts out on LinkedIn, how often he puts things out, so that if you wanted to DM him, you could get a fast response. So go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be today on the podcast as well. Very good conversation. Please connect to me on LinkedIn if you have questions about cybersecurity and soft skills. I'm spending quite a lot of time there. Please go on the softskillstech.ca.com. There's blogs there. There's a link to the audio books. There's a link to the physical book and the Kindle one as well. So definitely a lot of information there. We're also going to have a mini training of how to become a better communicator for interviews, about 1 hour. So it's kind of a very minimized version to help you to be a better person on the interviews and get hired faster as well.
Awesome. And how often do you put stuff out on LinkedIn?
I try several times a week.
Awesome.
This is between soft skills and cybersecurity and some of the other things I'm doing.
Excellent. Well, it has been just great. And we do need to have a follow-up because I'd love to chat a little bit more about cybersecurity. I think it's a great topic to chat a little bit more about. But thank you for sharing so many great insights and helpful tips for the audience and being a wonderful guest.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
As always, I remind everyone that life is a journey and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.